No one noticed the man standing still on the edge of the bridge. The world around him moved on, indifferent. Cars rushed beneath the steel arches, their engines a constant roar. Across the street, laughter spilled from a coffee shop where friends shared stories and clinked mugs. The breeze tugged gently at his worn coat, the seams frayed, the collar turned up not from fashion, but from years of wear, and weeks of cold. His eyes, once bright, now hollow, scanned the water below. Gray, restless, like his thoughts. Pedestrians passed him without a glance, some lost in their phones, others in their own burdens. He might as well have been invisible. The loneliness didn't just surround him, it consumed him. Each day had been heavier than the last, each night colder, longer. Hope, once a flicker, had become a memory. He placed both hands on the railing. They trembled. Memories flooded in, his daughter's laugh, the smell of coffee in the kitchen when things were still good, the way sunlight used to feel. He hadn't smiled in weeks. He couldn't remember the last time someone had said his name. He couldn't remember the last time he felt like he mattered. He took a breath, shaky and shallow. Would anyone even care if I disappeared? The thought wasn't sudden, it had been echoing in his mind for days, maybe months. But now, standing there, with the cold wind whispering through the cables of the bridge, it felt louder. Final. A single tear escaped and vanished into the folds of his scarf. The noise of the city faded. All he could hear now was the rushing water below, and the silence inside himself. He loosened his grip on the railing slightly. Then, from the corner of his eye, movement. Not a sound, not a word, just a smile, from a passing stranger, and for a moment, just a heartbeat. He paused. Emma didn't usually walk this way home. Her last class had ended early, and she felt restless, too many thoughts, too much noise in her head. Music played softly in her earbuds, but it did little to quiet the worry about an upcoming exam, her part-time job, or the message from her mom she still hadn't replied to. The sky was beginning to blush with evening light, casting golden edges along the city buildings. As she approached the bridge, something, a feeling, maybe, made her slow down. She turned her music down. And that's when she saw him. A man, standing completely still. Not looking at the skyline, not taking photos like tourists often did. Just, still, alone. His hands clung tightly to the rail. His coat was too thin for the weather. His posture was rigid, tense in a way that made her stomach twist. She took a few steps closer. Her heart picked up. He didn't see her. He didn't seem to see anything. For a brief moment, she considered walking past. It's not my business, she thought. I don't even know him. But her feet wouldn't move. Something deep inside whispered, he needs to be seen. Emma didn't speak. She didn't want to scare him, or say the wrong thing. Instead, she did the only thing that felt right. She smiled. A small, warm, human smile, gentle and real. For just a second, his eyes shifted. Their gazes met. Hers, filled with quiet concern. His, flickering, barely, but enough. And then, as if not to overwhelm the fragile moment, she walked on. No drama, no big gesture, just a girl with a backpack and a heart that noticed. She didn't know his story. She didn't know what he had been thinking. But something told her, maybe that smile made a difference. She didn't look back, but he did. He blinked. Just once, but it was enough to shatter the trance he'd been in. Her smile, it wasn't forced, or awkward. It didn't feel like pity. It felt real, warm, not the kind of smile people give to avoid awkwardness. It was the kind people give when they see you. He turned his head slightly, watching her walk away. She didn't look back. She didn't need to. But something inside him shifted. For the past few months, every thought had been heavy. Each morning he woke up with a weight on his chest. The silence in his apartment was louder than traffic, louder than grief. He'd lost his job. His wife had left. His daughter, now across the country, hadn't answered his last message. Days blurred together. Nights dragged. He had stopped caring if he woke up the next morning. He had come to the bridge for a reason. But now, his hands, still on the railing, loosened. Why did she smile? He wondered. Did she know? No, she couldn't have. She didn't stop, didn't ask questions. She didn't lecture, didn't call for help. She just smiled, as if to say, you matter, even if you don't know it yet. The cold wind brushed his face again, but it no longer felt like it was trying to push him forward. It felt clean, like breath, like the first real breath he'd taken in weeks. He stepped back, one step, then another. His heart was still beating. Faster now, but not from fear. From something else. Something almost forgotten. He wasn't sure what to call it yet. Hope, maybe. He turned fully from the railing. People still passed him by. No one noticed the man who had almost disappeared. But that was okay. She had noticed. And that single smile, that single moment, was enough to make him wonder if maybe, just maybe, this wasn't the end of his story. The seasons had changed. Summer came and went, painting the trees in golden amber. Then snow dusted the sidewalks, and spring finally returned, washing the city in soft greens and blooming sidewalks. Emma hardly remembered that day on the bridge. Not because it didn't matter, but because she had never known if it had. Life had moved forward, lectures, exams, heartbreaks, healing. She carried on, as people do, not knowing that a single moment of kindness had rippled far beyond her view. Now, it was a quiet afternoon. Campus was half empty, students scattered like seeds in the wind. Emma sat alone on a stone bench beneath an old oak tree. Her hands trembled around a coffee cup she barely sipped. A failed internship interview, a missed scholarship, a feeling of defeat she didn't have words for. Her eyes stung with tears, though she tried to blink them back. Her world felt so heavy, so unsteady. Then she heard footsteps. Slow, calm, purposeful. A man, mid-40s, clean coat, gentle presence, walked by, then stopped a few feet away. He looked at her, not with pity, but with a quiet kind of knowing. His face was unfamiliar, but his eyes held something that made her pause. He smiled. Not a polite smile, not a stranger's, a real one, warm, steady, kind. She furrowed her brow slightly, surprised, unsure. And then he spoke, just a few words. "You don't know it," he said, "but you saved me once." Emma's breath caught. He nodded gently, like he wasn't asking for thanks, just offering truth. "You smiled at me when no one else did. On a bridge. That day, I didn't think I'd see tomorrow." Tears welled in her eyes, but this time she didn't hide them. The man didn't stay long. He simply gave her that smile again, then walked on, like he had passed the light back to where it first began. And Emma sat there, stunned, humbled, changed. Emma sat motionless on the bench long after the man had gone. His words echoed in her mind. "You saved me once." She replayed that day in her memory, the bridge, the man in the coat, her smile. She had almost forgotten. It was such a small thing, just a moment. She had never even stopped walking. But to him, it had meant everything. She looked around at the students passing by, their backpacks heavy with books. Their minds preoccupied with deadlines, breakups, homesickness. And she realized something simple, but deeply profound. We don't always see the impact we have. Sometimes, the smallest acts, the ones we do without thinking, become the very things that hold someone else together. Her chest felt lighter, the weight from earlier slowly dissolving. Not because her problems were gone, but because her perspective had shifted. That smile, given freely, had saved a man's life. And now, his smile had found her when she needed it most. A full circle, a quiet miracle. She pulled out her notebook and wrote a single sentence. Kindness is never wasted. Sometimes, it just takes the long way back. Around her, the world kept spinning. Birds sang somewhere above. The wind brushed her hair gently. And for the first time in days, she smiled to herself, not because everything was okay, but because she knew she wasn't alone. Someone had seen her pain, and responded with grace. Just like she once had. As she stood to leave, she glanced at the people passing by. A girl frowning at her phone. A boy sitting by himself on the steps. An elderly woman struggling with her bag. Emma smiled, not because she had to, but because now, she understood the power of it. A single smile can start something. A change, a shift, a second chance. And sometimes, a smile is what saves the world.